There's a shortage of 2 billion homes in the world today, and it's actually growing, and nothing is closing the gap there. So we wanted to attack that problem. What we are doing is really enabled by automation, digital twins, and actually industrial AI. So we've been able to do a quantum leap, as I call it. We have done both the industrial revolution and the AI revolution at the same time. And actually the result of the simulation that we did with you and NVIDIA being involved is it's 19 minutes and 20 seconds per building unit coming out.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Optimistic Outlook podcast. I'm Barbara Humpton, CEO of Siemens USA, and I'm excited to explore a new topic with you. It concerns one of our most basic needs as human beings, and that's housing. And so much of our well-being is tied to where we live, where we call home. It impacts where we work and who we interact with on a daily basis. More broadly, housing has a direct impact on the health of our economy. And right now, the housing market around the world is facing a few challenges. Demand is outpacing supply. It's driving up costs and making housing out of reach for so many people. Today, I want to introduce you to someone who's thinking very differently about this challenge. Mikael Hedberg is founder and CEO of ADMARES, which is using modular building and smart factory technologies to reimagine how we build houses. He's industrializing construction so that houses are more abundant and affordable. I've also invited Eryn Devola, our U.S. head of sustainability for Siemens Digital Industries, to take us into the future of smart and sustainable manufacturing. Now, we're recording this a few weeks before I see both Mikael and Eryn at New York Climate Week. This episode should air as Climate Week gets underway. If you're there, you can hear Mikael and Eryn discuss this topic in a session at New Lab's New Climate Futures event. And I'm excited for you to learn more about what we're highlighting at Climate Week. Let me just sum that up quickly, the strong business case for sustainability. Industrial AI, automation, digital twins. These technologies are helping companies like ADMARES waste less materials and turn a material-intensive industry into one with less environmental impact. Take a listen. Mikael, you grew up watching your father build ships that could withstand ferocious storms. Was there a moment in your own journey when you realized you had to take action, that you wanted to bring that same spirit of resilience to home building?
My background is I've been 35 years in construction, and like you said, in shipbuilding. That was the 21st years of my life, in cruise ship building specifically, and the last 15 years now in traditional land-based construction. And looking at the differences in those two industries, shipbuilding is very focused on off-site modular, taking away the work from a shipyard into a controlled environment where you do as much as possible and then deliver ready goods to the shipyard to be able to build them cost efficiently and so forth. And now 15 years in this traditional construction industry, it's mass producing components in very high-tech factories and then sending them in small shipments to a site where they build them by hand. And I've been learning to passionately hate construction sites because they're a war zone, in my opinion, uncontrolled work, a lot of waste and a lot of noise pollution and uncontrolled way of delivering people to the site and products. So really wanting to introduce what we learned in shipbuilding and trying to avoid construction sites and do it as a controlled manufacturing plane.
Well, let me follow up then and just comment that modular housing and robotics might sound like science fiction to this audience. So explain to our listeners how this works. Tell us about your aha moment when you realized this really could transform housing and construction.
We started to look at what's the problem in construction, and it's literally the fact that it's the last industry building by hand, which is kind of mind-blowing. And the fact that we're building by hand means that we require skilled construction labor. And we noticed, and we had the same problem a bit in shipbuilding also, that there's a lack of construction labor. It's continuously decreasing. Young people are not going to construction sites. Old skilled people are retiring. And what it has caused is a massive shortage of construction labor when we need more homes, less construction labor. So the cost of construction keeps going up all the time. And it has caused a massive shortage of affordable housing, not any housing, but affordable housing. And That's really what we wanted to solve, because there's a shortage of 2 billion homes in the world today, and it's actually growing, and nothing is closing the gap there. So we wanted to attack that problem, and we've done it actually. So we have created a technology which enables us to remove the need for a traditional terrible construction site and the need for any traditional construction labor. So with our technology today, we're able to mass produce very high quality homes in a smart factory 100% without any need of construction labor anymore. So all the skilled tasks that usually require construction labor, like cutting, welding, painting, bolting, clamping, carpentry, tiling, is given to robots on 141 robots on 26 different production lines. So no need for construction labor anymore. We do need labor, but we only need assembly line labor, like all other advanced industries are using. So the labor pool we need, we can train in one day to work in a safe, high-tech factory on different assembly lines because the tasks are so simple. And we need 95% less labor because the difficult tasks are with robots more efficiently. So the end result is 95% less labor and the low-cost labor. And we've been able to affect the cost of producing homes, so really making a difference in affordable housing without compromising on the quality of the homes coming out of the factory.
Now, Eryn, after hearing this from Michael, I know you're focused today on solving industrial challenges, and you're helping companies to leverage their sustainability solutions to improve their business competitiveness. In doing this, you've drawn a lot of inspiration from the natural world. I'm just fascinated to learn more about this and how this inspires your approach to creating value for customers today.
I have always really been driven in just being part of a creation of something. So I spend a lot of time outside and you can see new plants growing, new things happening all the time. I also absolutely love spending time in factories. And we really look at how we can duplicate the things that we see, the really efficient, waste free systems you can see in nature duplicate themselves. I've spent almost 25 years now in factories and really aggressively through lean programs, through Six Sigma programs, looking at how do we get the waste out of the system. And this is really a lot of what Mikael and ADMARES is really attempting to do, is saying, hey, this construction process live has a lot of waste in it. How can we bring it to a more controlled environment, better reduce the waste, better optimize how we produce in the most efficient, most effective, waste-free, and maybe most natural-like way?
And I want to ask you both, what drives you to keep sustainability at the heart of how you both innovate?
I mean, really, sustainability is really the heart of the most complex and the hardest problems we need to solve. Long term viability for your business will depend on being able to help the world solve these types of problems. And I think that's really why sustainability kind of has to stay at the core of long term business viability. And so it's really connecting this. What are the toughest problems, which so many of them are around getting people affordable housing, getting access to food? Really, these core problems lead to a more sustainable long term future for really all of us here on the planet.
Yes, we know construction is probably the worst industry in the world when it comes to CO2 emissions and waste and so forth. And us introducing now this technology, I mean, we're making massive differences there. As an example, our factory is using solar power for the production. So it's 75% reduction in construction part. Secondly, we're doing 80% from raw materials to size in the factory, like other advanced industries. So we reduce waste by 80%. And we know construction uses about 40% of world's resources and waste probably as much, 40%. We're reducing transportations by 95% to a development, to a community where people move in. So if the site is ready to receive a home, we never become a construction site anymore. People can move in the same day we bring the homes, and you're not going to live in a construction site with noise pollution for years to go. So, I mean, technology is just completely shifting this finally into a very nice, sustainable play.
This is exciting, and you've used the word home. And I actually think using that word helps anchor this thought. Right? We talk a lot about the economic conditions of today, and we talk about housing. But in fact, what you're providing are homes. And the homes are going into neighborhoods often, and the people around are also going to benefit from this new method you've developed. What I'd love to do is take our listeners deep into this process. As you've worked through your digital transformation and automation, how are the tools evolving the construction process? You mentioned earlier that the technology helps people shift from the heavy construction labor to these more high-tech roles where you can train them in a day. Walk us through what the operation actually looks like.
What we are doing is really enabled by automation, digital twins, and actually industrial AI. So we've been able to do a quantum leap, as I call it. We have done both the industrial revolution and the AI revolution at the same time, industrializing the production process of homes and then using AI, to have the data on the product and the production. And we realized very early when developing this technology that the software used in construction industry is not going to cut it. That we have to, because we have to actually engineer every single component of a home to a final detail. So since 2019, we've been using Siemens NX Team Center software digital platform, because again, we have to design every component and model down to the final bolt, glue dot, and silicon line to be able to see where in the production they will be needed, from the automated inventory to the 26 production lines. So a product comes out at the end of the day without missing any of those components. So, but not only do we have a digital copy, a digital twin of the product, and we have to do this to be able to do an automation play. We also have a digital copy of the factory, and this is where it gets extremely exciting. So we've actually, with the help of Siemens and using a Technomatics plant simulation software, we have a digital twin, a digital copy of the factory already now, and we have started the factory. So we have simulated making sure that it will produce homes at 22.5-minute takt time as we have planned before we even are building the factory. And that's pretty exciting. And actually the result of the simulation that we did with you and NVIDIA being involved is it's 19 minutes and 20 seconds per building unit coming out. The very exciting thing is that it's now on one platform, the product digital twin, the production digital twin in the industrial metaverse. So becoming a very powerful tool if we change things in the product or the production. So to give a very specific example, and I am very excited about this, is if we now change a home to have 4 windows instead of 3 windows on a window wall, within a fraction of a second, we know what the cost implication is. We also know if it's going to affect the productivity. Do we have enough capacity in the window factory to produce it without causing a bottleneck? So just having the data and being able to play around, how does it affect the product design? How does it affect the production? It's mind-blowing, exciting what we can do now with the technology.
And Michael, it's amazing because we've been talking to our listeners about these technologies and various applications. And here you are, you're bringing all of this to life for us, starting with how you get your power, your solar power to drive your factory, and then your digital twins to help you with operations. Eryn, I'll turn to you now. You're helping partners like Michael deploy these technologies, automation, digital solutions. Now, how are these technologies making factories adaptive and faster? How are the efficiency improvements helping companies become more productive and profitable? Are you seeing these kind of results yet?
Absolutely. And what I think you really come down to, and Michael said it, is you can make changes. You can see the impact in cost, the impact in tech time. You can really simulate things that would have taken a lot of guessing, a lot of ciphering, and probably a lot of time and resources to figure out in previous generations before you had this. And I really liked what Michael said here is we took an older industry that he's working with here and helped them move to the industrialization of this industry, but also the technology innovation, the digitalization at the same time. And that, I think, is really the superpower here, being able to really completely reimagine how you build a home, starting not in a sort of evolutionary way, but really in a revolutionary way, skipping over some of these intermediate steps and taking what technology can give you today and building a home in less than 22 minutes.
I have the privilege of serving on the board of the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond. And when you talk to people who are making investments right now in bringing manufacturing back to the United States, the number one thing they say is, I need more access to talent. I need people. And gee, I can't get access to talent and people because housing is unaffordable in the area where we are. So I'm kind of curious about whether the method that you've developed actually delivers more affordable housing. And then what's the impact of the trade disruption that's going on right now? Can you get access to the materials you need in order to fulfill your mission?
In order to solve housing, two things have to happen. It has to be very low cost on the homes because people have to be able to afford them. And you have to have a solution that scales up. It's big volume, you have to be able to do it. And we've been able to do it through industrialization. Our cost, to give you an idea, our direct production cost for a very high quality home, which is higher quality than what's out there as a standard because we use steel structure and very good materials to be able to automate the production. Our cost is about $60 a square foot. Putting in overheads on top of it and transporting it on site, our cost is about $80 a square foot. And we could sell homes at about both sides of $100 per square foot for a very high quality home, mass produced in automated factory. So we'll make a difference on the cost side. The factory we designed is a very US-based design together with our partners Siemens, Porsche, EDAG, and MHP. So the equipment in the factory, it's about 96% US equipment suppliers for the 26 different production lines. We're almost 100% on the raw materials from US. However, some suppliers are saying, well, we're importing parts, but we can solve that. So it's a very US play, the design we have finalized for the US market.
We really do believe in the idea of globalization, the idea that,
Yeah.
Using supplies that are close to the point of production, close to the point of demand, that's going to be a big part of driving both the economic equation as well as the sustainability equation. Well, I
Yes.
like to end each episode with an optimistic outlook. I think we've basically gotten it through our conversation, but let me give you all a chance to close. And Eryn, let me start with you. What is your optimistic outlook for the technologies that you're working to deploy?
I think the most optimistic piece of it is knowing that we have the technology we need to solve these problems today. We need to bring the people together, we need to bring the ideas to life, but we have the technology we need. We're halfway there.
And Michael, over to you. You get the last word.
We're so excited about the fact that we're bringing that old-fashioned industry to the same level of other industries, and the tools of AI, being able to know how it affects the product, how can we keep improving it, how can we improve the production, how big of an effect that will have going forward. Already now we're making a big change, but I think the technological development is on steroids. I mean, it's mind-blowing what's happening, and now we're able to do that within housing and homes and so forth. So I mean, it's exciting to see what we can start doing with this.
Thank you, Michael and Eryn, for bringing the connection between greater productivity and greater sustainability into focus for us. Think about it. A home. When you imagine home, what do you see? Well, now I'm seeing a far more sustainable and more available, more affordable location for raising a family, for participating in a community, for making sure that we have a thriving society able to open up our economy even further. As I said in my opening, the business case for sustainability is only getting stronger. We see that here. The tools helping to improve efficiency can enable us to reimagine construction, boosting its resiliency and profitability. And the really exciting part? This potential can apply to industry after industry. And go to our show notes as well for more information about our partnership with ADMARES.
Please follow us on social media and on your favorite podcasting platform. Thank you for tuning in.